Chosen one, like the story of what the ladybird heard, a silent witness has been listening, watching, collecting information that will shock you, and he is about to step forward for you. Someone is bringing a weapon far more powerful than force, evidence. What comes next changes the entire narrative. The people who targeted you realize too late they were never alone, now revealed. Let me tell you why this witness stayed silent for so long. Not because of weakness, because of tactical thinking. This person was a child, trapped in a family that operated like an organized crime syndicate. This child watched adults perform rituals with your photograph. This child overheard conversations about diverting your inheritance. This child witnessed documents being forged to steal what was rightfully yours. And this child understood something critical. Speaking up then would have accomplished nothing except creating another target. So this person became a spy in enemy territory. The witness appeared neutral, played the game, survived by being invisible. But the entire time this person was collecting intelligence. When something suspicious appeared, the witness made notes. When planning conversations happened, the witness memorized names. When documents surfaced, the witness made copies. When rituals occurred, the witness documented what was used. This was not passive observation. This was active warfare conducted by someone who understood that waiting for the right moment to strike was essential. And the pressure came, hard. The adults in that family system tried to recruit this child. They offered money to participate in keeping you controlled. They promised status if this person would help harvest your energy. They showed off the prosperity they had built on stolen blessings and said, you can have this too. All you have to do is help us keep this one person down. And this child, this empath trapped in darkness, looked at what was being offered and said no, not because of naivety, because this person recognized that accepting would destroy something in the soul that could never be recovered. That refusal marked this person. It made an outsider in the family itself. Punishment came. Isolation happened. The family made this child feel defective for having a conscience, and it happened repeatedly. But here is what the tormentors did not understand. Every punishment strengthened this person's resolve. Every rejection confirmed being on the right side. Every attempt to break only made the determination stronger to document everything so that one day justice could be served. This person left that toxic system as soon as possible. Distance was put between self and the darkness, geographic and emotional. The witness cut contact with the manipulators, built a new life, started healing, but this person never forgot what was seen. The evidence was never discarded. The witness kept it, protected it. Protected waited for the day when bringing it forward would actually matter, when it could be used for justice, instead of just creating more chaos. Specific rooms where rituals took place can be described. What objects were used is remembered. What words were spoken is known. Patterns that repeat have been documented. Which family members participated, and which ones pretended not to know has been tracked. The hierarchy of who gave orders and who followed them was recorded. This is not vague memory. This is detailed accounting that can be corroborated and verified. And physical items were kept. Things that should not have been accessible, but were. Photographs of gatherings where things were done that should never have been photographed. Copies of documents found in drawers that should not have been opened. Recordings captured on devices people thought were turned off. Written notes transferred from memory to paper while details were still fresh. A case file was built without even fully understanding why. Some instinct recognized this would be needed. Think about the courage that required. Not adult courage making a conscious choice, but child courage operating on pure instinct. Sneaking into rooms to photograph documents. Recording conversations while pretending to be asleep. Copying papers and returning them before anyone noticed them missing. Hiding evidence in places where toxic family members would never think to look. A counterintelligence operation was being run before puberty even hit. The psychological sophistication required for that is extraordinary. A neutral facade had to be maintained, while internally horror was being experienced at what was witnessed, appearing compliant while secretly documenting non-compliance, showing just enough emotion to seem normal, but not so much emotion that anyone suspected. Close attention was being paid. The art of being invisible, while actually being the most aware person in every room, was perfected. Your family did not just emotionally abuse you. They engaged in organized spiritual and financial theft. They identified you as a chosen one before you had that self-knowledge. They recognized the frequency you carried, the ancient bloodline energy, the divine purpose written into your soul, and they made the decision to exploit it. Rituals were performed that were designed to harvest your energy. They used your name in ceremonies you never consented to. They worked with your photograph and personal items to create energetic links. They built systems that allowed them to drain your vitality from a distance. This is not metaphor. This is not exaggeration. This is documented practice that the witness saw directly, and this is why you have experienced unexplained exhaustion for so long, why you kept waking up tired, why contact with certain family members left you depleted. You were being fed on, systematically, by people who knew exactly what they were doing. They manipulated legal and financial documents to steal your inheritance. They forged signatures. They altered paperwork. They used their influence to ensure that money meant for you went into their pockets instead. Property that should have been divided equally was transferred entirely into their names. Trust funds meant for your education and future were redirected, and they covered their tracks with documentation designed to make it look legitimate, designed to make it look like you were never entitled to anything in the first place. They actively sabotaged your opportunities. Every time something good was about to happen in your life, they interfered. They called in favors to ensure you did not get hired. They spread rumors to destroy relationships before they could develop. They used their connections to keep doors closed, not occasionally, not randomly, but as a consistent pattern designed to ensure you would struggle, that you would remain dependent, that you would never achieve the success that would give you independence from their control. They worked to suppress your gifts and potential. Every time you showed signs of greatness as a child, someone stepped in to dim that light. They criticized your achievements. They dismissed your talents. They created situations designed to make you fail. They set impossible standards that you could never meet. They ensured that you would doubt yourself so deeply that you would never fully step into your power, because if you ever woke up, if you ever recognized what you actually carried, their access to your energy would be severed, their manipulation would stop working, and they would lose the primary source they had been feeding from. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. The witness has been watching you from a distance, following your journey, tracking your progress, not from malicious intent, but from protective instinct. This person needed to know if you survived, if you were healing, if you were becoming strong enough to handle the truth, because giving this information to someone who would collapse under the weight of it accomplishes nothing. The witness had to wait until you developed the spiritual armor necessary to weaponize what is known. Recently, the witness has seen something that changed the equation, watching you set boundaries that shocked your family, observing you cut off toxic people without apology, seeing you step into your power in ways that prove you are no longer controllable, and recognizing signs that you have spiritual protection now, that you have learned energy work, that you understand how manipulation operates on subtle levels, that you are ready. This is when the witness started preparing to come forward. Not because courage was suddenly found, because a tactical assessment was completed and the conditions were determined to be optimal now. You are strong enough to receive the information, protected enough to handle the retaliation, awake enough to understand the full scope, and positioned correctly to turn this evidence into actual justice rather than just more trauma. You started questioning narratives that never quite added up. You began noticing patterns in how certain family members behaved. You started feeling something was off, even when you could not articulate it exactly, and instead of dismissing those instincts, you started trusting them. You began doing your own research, learning about energy manipulation, understanding how spiritual interference works, discovering that reality operates on levels most people never acknowledge. You started setting boundaries, cutting off people who drained you, refusing to participate in family drama, declining invitations to gatherings that always left you feeling terrible. And you noticed something powerful. The more boundaries you set, the stronger you became, the clearer your mind got, the more energy you had. This confirmed what you suspected. Those people were not just toxic in normal ways, they were actively harvesting from you. You started doing protection work, learning to shield your energy field, cutting cords with people who had been draining you, working with your own spiritual team, building defenses that actually worked. And this is when things shifted dramatically, because as you learned protection, the people who had been feeding off you lost access. The energetic links they had created started breaking, their manipulation tactics stopped working, their rituals stopped connecting. You became inaccessible. This terrified them, because their prosperity had been built on stolen energy. Their success was not earned, it was siphoned from you, and suddenly that supply was cut off. Suddenly scrambling happened, trying harder to re-establish the connection, sending more aggressive attacks, reaching out through other people to try to get back into your field. But you held firm, you maintained your boundaries, you stayed protected, and being touched by them became impossible. This is when they started panicking, because they recognized a problem they had not anticipated. Not only were they cut off from your energy, but you were starting to ask questions. You were beginning to investigate. You were waking up to the truth of what had been done. And they understood that if you ever found proof, if you ever connected all the dots, they could not escape the consequences. Legal consequences, financial consequences, social consequences, karmic consequences that would destroy everything they had built. Some of them are frantically consulting with each other right now, trying to figure out how to maintain the cover-up, how to keep you from discovering the full truth, how to protect secrets that have been buried for so long. They are making defensive plans. They are preparing stories. They are getting their lies straight, because they sense something coming. They can feel the shift in energy. They know exposure is approaching. But here is what they do not know. Here is the detail that makes this entire situation so perfectly timed. They have no idea that there was a witness. They have no idea that someone documented everything. They forgot about the quiet child in the corner who saw and heard and remembered everything. They dismissed that person as irrelevant, as too young to matter, as too powerless to ever be a threat. And that miscalculation is about to cost them everything. The witness is coming forward now because seeing you are ready has happened, seeing you have built spiritual defenses, seeing you have developed emotional resilience, seeing you have cultivated the strength necessary to handle shocking information without collapsing, seeing you have positioned yourself strategically, and recognizing this is the perfect moment to deploy what has been held. There is also cosmic timing involved. We are in a period where collective consciousness is demanding truth, where hidden things are being exposed across all systems, where darkness is being forced into light, whether willingness exists or not. Your personal revelation is happening within this larger context. The energy supporting exposure is stronger now than it has been in generations. Forces are aligned to support truth-telling. Protection is available in ways it was not before. Divine support is backing this revelation because the universe itself is supporting this exposure. When this person finally makes contact, when the revelation of what is known happens, when the evidence that has been carried is finally presented, something fundamental will shift. You will receive validation so complete that every remaining trace of self-doubt will evaporate. Everything you intuited will be confirmed. Everything you suspected will be proven. Everything you were told was your imagination will be documented as fact. And this validation will not make you feel small. It will make you feel powerful, because it will prove that your instincts were correct, that your perception was accurate, that you knew something was wrong because something was wrong. You will have options you did not have before. Legal recourse backed by documentation, financial claims supported by evidence, the ability to pursue justice through official channels. The witness testimony provides what has been missing, proof that cannot be dismissed, a case that cannot be ignored, documentation that can be taken to attorneys and judges and authorities who have the power to enforce consequences. You will have leverage, because the people who did this do not want exposure. They have spent so much time building their reputations. They have social standing they do not want to lose. They have secrets that would destroy them if revealed. And suddenly you will be holding documentation that threatens all of it. This gives you power to demand restitution, to force accountability, to negotiate from a position of strength rather than a position of victimhood. But beyond the practical advantages, beyond the legal options, beyond the financial recovery, something more important is happening. The truth coming forward is breaking final energetic contracts. The exposure is severing remaining cords. The revelation is dissolving blocks that have been limiting you for your entire life. This is spiritual warfare, and truth is the ultimate weapon. As this information surfaces, as the evidence comes to light, as the full scope of manipulation is exposed, you will notice things changing in your external reality. Opportunities that were blocked will suddenly open. Resources that were withheld will suddenly flow. Blessings that were delayed will suddenly manifest, because the interference is being dismantled. The energetic theft is being stopped. The manipulation is being exposed and therefore losing its power. The witness did not just observe passively. Intelligence gathering happened with remarkable sophistication for someone so young. When your photograph was seen being used in rituals, which family members were present was noted. When conversations about blocking your opportunities were heard, attention was paid to who made phone calls and to whom. When financial documents being altered were found, recognition came that signatures did not match. This was not casual observation. This was active intelligence gathering by someone who understood the assignment even before full articulation was possible. The witness is also bringing information about enablers, about people who knew what was happening and said nothing, who watched you struggle and did not help, who benefited from your suppression without directly participating. This might be the most painful part, because direct enemies are easy to identify, but discovering who stood by and watched while you were being destroyed, who could have spoken up but chose comfort over courage, who pretended not to know while actually knowing everything, that cuts differently. But you need to know, you need to see who was complicit, because some of these people might still be in your life, playing the role of the concerned family member, the one who reaches out periodically to check on you, the one who seems neutral, the one who says wanting everyone to just get along is the goal. And what you are about to discover is that their neutrality was a choice, that their silence was participation, that their fence-sitting was actually a form of support for your abusers. The witness can identify these people, telling you who knew, who saw, who heard conversations and did nothing, who was told directly what was happening and chose to look the other way. This information arms you to make clean cuts, to stop wasting energy on people who do not deserve the benefit of your doubt, to recognize that just because someone was not actively attacking you does not mean they were on your side. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in, so let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your destiny engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Here is another dimension of what the witness observed, how the manipulation affected you over time. The witness watched you as a vibrant child full of potential gradually become dimmed. The witness observed the moments when your light would start to shine, and then something would happen to extinguish it again. The witness saw the pattern of you beginning to believe in yourself, and then suddenly doubting everything. The witness tracked the cycle of you starting to succeed, and then mysteriously self-sabotaging, and the witness understood what you could not see, that this was not accidental, that each time your light began to activate, someone would perform another ritual. Each time you started to gain confidence, someone would spread a rumor or create a situation designed to tear you down. Each time you began manifesting success, someone would interfere to block it. The witness watched this pattern repeat so many times that prediction became possible, and the witness documented each cycle with increasing frustration that no one was stopping it. This testimony will help you forgive yourself for all the times self-sabotage happened and understanding why was impossible, for all the opportunities walked away from that made no logical sense, for all the moments self-doubt came for no clear reason. You will see that external forces were creating internal confusion, that your behavior was not random or weak, that you were under attack and responding the way anyone would respond under sustained assault. The witness provides the context that transforms self-blame into appropriate rage at what was done to you. Something else was also observed that matters crucially. The witness noticed how your energy changed when you were away from the toxic family system. The witness saw that when you were at school, or with friends, or in other environments, you were different, more alive, more confident, more capable, and then you would return home, and that vitality would drain away. The witness watched this pattern and understood what it meant. The problem was not you. The problem was the environment. The problem was the people deliberately creating that drain. This observation is powerful because it confirms what you have probably experienced, that you function differently in different contexts, that there are settings where you thrive and settings where you barely survive, that certain people bring out your best and certain people trigger your worst. The witness documentation proves that this is not weakness in you. This is evidence of targeted interference. You are not the problem. You never were the problem. The problem has always been external forces trying to make you believe you were broken. The witness is also providing you with language, ways to describe what happened that you might not have had before, terminology that captures the nuance, concepts that explain the mechanism, framework that organizes the chaos into something coherent. This matters because when you can name something, when you can articulate it clearly, when you can explain it to others, you gain power over it. Confusion dissolves, clarity emerges, and strategic action based on accurate understanding can begin. Concepts you have not encountered might be introduced, terms from psychology that describe family dysfunction, vocabulary from spiritual traditions that explain energy manipulation, legal language that categorizes the crimes. Having this expanded vocabulary allows you to research further, to connect with communities of people who understand, to find resources specifically designed for what you experienced. You are not alone in this. Others have walked similar paths, and now you have the language to find them. But here is something else known that you need to understand. Which family members were victims too is known. Who else was targeted? Who else was drained? Who else struggled under the weight of this system? This information is valuable because it helps you identify potential allies, other people in your family who might also benefit from knowing the truth, who might be ready to break free, who might be willing to stand with you when the information becomes known publicly. This does not mean responsibility for saving anyone exists. Being required to be the liberator of your entire family is not the case, but knowing who else was targeted gives you options. If pursuing legal action is chosen, others might be willing to join the case. If deciding to make the truth public happens, others might be ready to corroborate. If simply wanting to ensure this pattern does not continue is the goal, younger family members might exist who can be protected now that the truth is known. The witness can also tell you about resistors who failed, other people who tried to speak up and were destroyed, who questioned the system and were crushed, who noticed the abuse and were silenced. This is painful information but necessary, because it shows you what you are up against. It demonstrates the lengths these people will go to maintain their secrets. It proves that your caution about how to handle this information is warranted. This is not a game. These are people who have destroyed others to protect themselves. But here is the difference. Those other resistors did not have what you have. Evidence did not exist for them. A witness did not exist. Documentation did not exist. Suspicions existed. Accusations existed. Gut feelings existed. And those things can be dismissed, called crazy, labeled as delusions. But what the witness brings cannot be dismissed, cannot be denied, cannot be explained away. This is the advantage you hold that previous resistors did not. Fighting is not happening with words against words. Fighting is happening with proof against lies. Strategic advantage you might not immediately recognize is also being given to you. How the toxic family members think is known, their patterns, their triggers, their vulnerabilities, their fears, because observation of these people happened over the long term in their natural habitat. Which ones panic when confronted is known, which ones attack when threatened, which ones try to buy silence, which ones run to enablers for backup. This intelligence allows you to predict responses and prepare accordingly. If confrontation is chosen, anticipating their tactics becomes possible. If gaslighting attempts come, evidence is ready. If claims that you are mentally unstable are made, a credible witness who saw the same things exists. If attempts to turn family members against you happen, knowing which relationships are already compromised and which might be salvageable is possible. If legal action threats come, documentation exists that makes their threats empty. The witness gives you the ability to stay moves ahead of whatever attempts are made. There will be a period of integration. The information will need to process through your system. Your mind will need time to reorganize your entire history through this new lens. Your emotions will need space to feel the full range of what this brings up. Your body will need to release stored trauma as truth replaces confusion. Give yourself this time. Do not rush to take action before you have fully absorbed what you have learned. During this integration period, you might experience physical symptoms, exhaustion as your system recalibrates, vivid dreams as your subconscious processes the information, emotional waves that seem to come out of nowhere, memories surfacing that you had forgotten, physical sensations in your body as stored trauma releases. These are not signs that something is wrong. These are signs that deep healing is occurring. Your entire being is reorganizing itself around truth instead of lies. You might also experience a temporary identity crisis, because so much of how you understood yourself was built on false premises. You thought you were the problem. Now you discover you were the target. You thought you were weak. Now you learn you were under attack. You thought you struggled because of personal failings. Now you see you struggled because of external interference. This requires rebuilding your self-concept from the foundation and that process can feel destabilizing before it feels empowering. Let yourself be destabilized. Let the old identity crumble. Let the false beliefs dissolve. Let the painful stories disintegrate. Because what is being destroyed is not you. What is being destroyed is the prison that was built around you. What is falling apart is the cage that kept you contained. What is crumbling is the false self that was constructed to keep you controllable. And as that artificial structure collapses, your true self has room to expand. This information is not coming to you so you can stay stuck in battle with toxic people for the rest of your life. It is coming so you can decisively end the battle, so you can take whatever action serves your highest good, and then move on, so you can close this chapter completely, rather than letting it remain an open wound. The goal is not to spend the rest of your life fighting these people. The goal is to neutralize them as a threat, so you can focus on building the life you were always meant to live. Some of you will choose legal action. You will take the evidence to attorneys. You will pursue financial restitution. You will demand accountability through the court system. This is valid. This is powerful. This is using the system to deliver justice, and with the documentation the witness provides, you actually have a case. Not just emotional claims, but concrete proof that can hold up under legal scrutiny. Some of you will choose private confrontation. You will face the people who targeted you with evidence in hand. You will demand answers. You will make them acknowledge what they did. You will take back your power through direct engagement. This is also valid. This can be incredibly cathartic. Watching them squirm as they realize you know everything, seeing their faces when you produce documentation they thought did not exist, feeling your own strength as you refuse to accept their lies. Some of you will choose silent revenge. You will take the information and use it to protect yourself and others without ever directly engaging with your abusers. You will share the evidence with family members who need to know. You will ensure younger generations are protected. You will cut off access and resources these people were using. You will watch from a distance as their lives fall apart under the weight of their own karma. This is strategic. This is clean. This is refusing to give them the satisfaction of a reaction while still ensuring justice is served. And some of you will choose complete detachment. You will receive the information. You will feel the validation. You will use it to complete your healing. And then you will walk away without looking back. No confrontation, no legal action, no engagement whatsoever. You will simply take the truth and use it to build a life so magnificent that what they did becomes increasingly irrelevant. This is the ultimate power move, refusing to give them any more of your energy, not even the energy it takes to ensure they face consequences. All of these choices are valid. All of these paths are powerful. The witness is not bringing you this information to dictate what should be done with it. The witness is bringing it to give you options you did not have before, to put power in your hands, to let you decide from a place of strength rather than confusion. What you do with the evidence is entirely up to you, but now you have it. Now you know. Now you can choose. The people who targeted you will face consequences, not just because pursuing them legally might happen, though it might, but because universal law demands balance. Cosmic principles were violated. A chosen one's divine purpose was interfered with. Energy that was not theirs to take was stolen, and that level of transgression creates karmic debt that must be repaid. What was built on stolen blessings will crumble. What was taken will be returned. What was thought to be gotten away with will catch up, and you will rise, not despite what happened, but leveraging what happened, using this revelation as fuel. Every stolen opportunity becomes evidence of how powerful you must be, that working so hard to keep you down was necessary. Every blocked blessing becomes proof of how much the universe is about to pour into your life now that the interference is removed. Every attack becomes confirmation that you carry something extraordinary that darkness itself organized to suppress. Think about what this means. Targeting you did not happen because you were weak. Targeting happened because you were dangerous. Targeting happened because you carried a frequency that threatened their control. Targeting happened because your potential was so massive that if you ever fully stepped into it, their entire system of manipulation would become irrelevant. The level of effort put into suppressing you is the ultimate proof of the level of power you actually hold. And now you are stepping into that power, deliberately, consciously, with full awareness of what you carry and what you are meant to do. You are building yourself into exactly the kind of force that your enemies always feared you would become. You are activating gifts they tried to suppress, reclaiming energy they tried to steal, stepping into purpose they tried to block, and nothing can stop it anymore. The witness coming forward is not random, it is not coincidence, it is divine timing. It is the universe providing exactly what you need at exactly the moment you are ready to use it. This evidence is being delivered to a warrior who has been preparing for battle. This intelligence is being given to someone who knows how to deploy it strategically. This weapon is being placed in the hands of someone who will use it to dominate. Welcome to the moment everything changes. Welcome to the revelation that completes your transformation. Welcome to the evidence that turns you from survivor to dominator. It is here, it is happening, and you are ready, so ready, for all of it. The ladybird heard everything. The witness stayed silent until the perfect moment, and now the truth is coming forward. Not to give you closure, to give you ammunition, not to heal you, to arm you, not to make you feel better, to make you dangerous. This is not the end of your struggle. This is the beginning of your victory. This is not the final chapter of your pain. This is the opening chapter of your power. This is not about recovering from what was done. This is about leveraging what was done to fuel what comes next.